There is a moment that changes everything. A moment when the prayer you kept alive in the dark finally breaks into the light. The call comes in, the debt starts shrinking, the door opens, the money arrives, the pressure lifts, and suddenly your heart wants to explode with relief. You want to tell somebody, you want to post it, you want to celebrate before the dust even settles. But listen carefully, because this is where many people lose what they prayed so hard to receive. Not because the blessing was fake, not because God changed his mind, but because the moment favor arrived, wisdom left the room. And if you can master this moment, you can protect what heaven just placed in your hands. Stay with me, because this is not just about money. This is about covering. This is about timing. This is about knowing how to carry a blessing without breaking it. Some of you are closer than you think. Some of you are standing at the edge of answered prayer right now. And what you do next matters more than you realize. When God begins to send increase into your life, when the thing you cried for starts taking shape in front of your eyes, do not rush to make noise. Do not feel forced to explain. Do not think every blessing needs an audience. Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is receive it quietly, bow your head and say nothing at all. God is not afraid of money. He is not nervous about increase. He is not trying to keep his people small, weak and struggling forever. Again and again, you see that he provides, restores, multiplies, and opens doors no human hand could open. The issue is not the blessing. The issue is always the heart holding it. Money has a strange way of uncovering what was already hidden inside a person. If there is peace in you, money will reveal it. If there is fear in you, money will reveal that too. If there is gratitude, it will rise. If there is pride, it will rise faster. That is why the arrival of provision is not only a gift, it is also a test. It shows what kind of spirit is leading your life. And many people are prepared for lack, but they are not prepared for increase. They know how to pray when they are desperate. They know how to cry when they are tired. They know how to trust when there is nothing left. But when abundance starts moving in their direction, their guard drops, their mouth opens, their focus shifts. They stop looking at the giver and start staring at the gift. Watch this closely, because this is where wisdom begins. The blessing did not come to make you loud. It came to make you faithful. It did not come so people could clap for you. It came so you could steward something sacred without turning it into a show. The first battle after breakthrough is not usually outside of you. It is inside of you. It is the battle between excitement and discipline. It is the pull to speak before the thing is rooted. It is the urge to display what should still be developing in private. A seed has power, but it is still a seed. It needs soil. It needs time. It needs hiddenness. It needs protection from hands that touch too early and eyes that look too soon. And blessings work the same way. When something new begins in your finances, it often looks small at first. It may be a contract, a promotion, a business idea, a sudden opportunity, a debt cleared, a connection you did not expect. It may not look like much to other people, but in the spirit, it is the beginning of something bigger than you can see. And that is exactly why you must be careful with your mouth. If you pull a seed from the soil just to prove it is real, you interrupt the process that was making it strong. If you expose a fragile blessing to too many opinions, too many reactions, too many people who do not carry your burden or understand your journey, you create pressure around something that still needs quiet. Hear this clearly. Not every open door is meant to be announced the day it appears. Not every answered prayer is ready for public view. Sometimes silence is not secrecy, it is protection. And there is another reason. Wisdom stays quiet when increase arrives. People do not have to hate you to be affected by your blessing. They only have to be human. Sometimes what looks like celebration on the outside is pain on the inside. Sometimes your answered prayer touches the exact place where someone else still feels disappointment. They may not be evil. They may not be fake. They may even love you. But pain can distort the way people receive your good news. Jealousy is not always loud. Sometimes it is silent. Sometimes it hides behind a smile. Sometimes it is not even full jealousy. Sometimes it is sorrow, comparison, confusion, or a deep question they cannot answer. Why them and not me? Why now? Why this? That emotional weight can settle over a fresh blessing in ways many people do not understand. This is why wise people learn to move gently when God begins to lift them. Not from fear, not from superstition, but from discernment. You do not owe everybody a report. You do not need to prove that God is working. You do not need to force your testimony into every conversation. Let some things breathe in private. Let some victories grow roots before you name them in public. If God wanted the whole room to know right now, He would have made it impossible to hide. So if the door opened quietly, maybe there is wisdom in walking through it quietly too. Keep listening, because this next part matters if you want the blessing to last. Many people think the hard test is the season of lack. They think the real trial is when there is not enough. And yes, lack can test your faith in deep ways. It can stretch you, humble you, keep you on your knees. It can teach you dependence one painful day at a time. But abundance brings a different test. And for many people it is the more dangerous one. Lack whispers, you need God. Abundance can whisper, you did this. Lack can drive you to pray. Abundance can tempt you to relax your spirit. Lack can keep your heart soft. Abundance, if not handled with fear of God, can make your soul careless. And the shift is often so small that you do not notice it at first. You still say the right words. You still look grateful. You still talk about faith. But deep down something starts changing. You begin to feel stronger than you really are, more secure than you should, more impressed with your own effort than amazed by divine mercy. That is the beginning of danger, because the blessing is safest in the hands of a humble person. God can trust an open hand. He can trust a bowed heart. He can trust a person who still remembers the nights of tears after the mornings of increase. But when pride enters, even quietly, the atmosphere changes. The money may still be there for a while. The success may still look strong. But something holy begins to pull back. Stay with me, because this is where many people miss what is really happening. Pride rarely enters like a storm. It usually enters like a thought. A simple thought. A believable thought. You worked hard for this. You earned this. You suffered for this. You stayed up late. You pushed through pain. You did not quit. And all of that may be true. But pride adds one extra sentence to that truth, and that sentence poisons everything. It says, so now this is yours to glorify yourself with. That is the lie. Effort is real, but breath came from God. Discipline is real, but favor came from God. Strategy matters, but timing came from God. Strength matters, but the door itself came from God. The moment you begin to act like the blessing is proof of your greatness, instead of evidence of His mercy, you start disconnecting the gift from the giver. And once that happens, stewardship becomes performance. Gratitude becomes self-congratulation. Peace becomes image management. This is why silence is so powerful. Silence starves pride. Silence keeps the heart low. Silence helps you enjoy the blessing without building an identity around it. It keeps you from chasing attention. It keeps you from measuring your value through other people's reaction. It reminds your soul that what God placed in your hand is an assignment, not a trophy. And that changes everything, because a trophy is displayed, an assignment is carried. A trophy feeds ego. An assignment requires wisdom. If you understand that, you will stop asking, how can I show this, and start asking, how should I handle this? There is a pattern in life that shows up everywhere once you learn to see it. The most powerful things begin in hidden places. A child grows where no crowd can watch. Roots spread where no camera can reach. A harvest forms underground long before the field turns gold. Strength is often built in silence first. Depth is formed away from applause. And if that is true in the natural world, why would the spiritual world be different? When God starts building something strong in your life, He often begins it in quiet. Not because it is weak, but because it is valuable. Hidden does not mean absent. Hidden often means protected, covered, guarded, being prepared for a future moment. So when increase starts showing up, do not despise the quiet season around it. Do not mistake silence for slowness. Do not think nothing is happening, because not many people know. Some of the greatest things God will ever do for you will happen without public commentary, without constant updates, without dramatic announcements. And in that hidden place, your character is being trained alongside your finances. Your patience is being tested. Your motives are being revealed. Your heart is being shaped to carry more without collapsing under the weight of more. This is why wise people stop rushing visibility. They understand that exposure before maturity can damage what should have become durable. If this is speaking to you, hold on, because the next part may be the reason your last season felt delayed. Not everything that threatens a blessing looks dramatic. Sometimes danger enters through careless words, through oversharing, through the need to be seen, through the pressure to keep people updated on every small turn in your life. And while not everything needs to be treated with fear, everything should be treated with wisdom. Your words matter. They carry direction. They carry focus. They reveal what you are feeding in your heart. When you talk too much about what is still forming, you scatter energy. You invite opinions you never asked for. You stir reactions you cannot control. You create noise around something that needs peace. That is why silence can be a weapon. It keeps your spirit settled. It keeps your attention where it belongs. It keeps the blessing under cover while it develops strength. Some people talk themselves out of peace. They announce too early, explain too much, promise too fast, and then spend the next season trying to manage the pressure they created with their own mouth. Do not do that. Let your life speak when the time is right. Let results mature. Let fruit become fruit before you call it harvest. There is no reward for exposing what God has not finished shaping. There is no prize for making noise before the foundation is strong. Real wisdom knows when to speak, but it also knows when silence is the speech of faith. Sometimes the strongest sentence you can say in a season of increase is no sentence at all. Just gratitude, just obedience, just quiet movement with God. And let me say this clearly. Staying quiet does not mean being ashamed of what God has done. It does not mean hiding forever. It does not mean you never testify. There is a time to speak. There is a time to declare. There is a time when your story will help somebody breathe again. But timing matters. A testimony told too early can become pressure instead of power. A blessing exposed too soon can attract strain before it develops strength. God knows when the roots are deep enough for the tree to stand in public. He knows when your heart is stable enough to speak without showing off. He knows when your story can lift others without feeding your ego. So let Him choose the moment. Let Him make it visible when it is ready. Until then, do not confuse patience with passivity. Quiet people are not inactive people. They are often building the most. They are learning, saving, planning, giving, repairing, preparing. They are becoming the kind of person who can hold a blessing without turning it into a performance. That kind of quiet is powerful. It is not empty. It is full of discipline, full of prayer, full of self-control, full of trust. And in a world where almost everything is designed to be displayed, a calm, hidden life has become rare and beautiful. It carries weight. It carries peace. It carries a kind of authority that loud people can imitate but never fully possess. The world has trained many people to believe that prosperity must be visible to be real. If you are blessed, show it. If you are winning, prove it. If you are growing, make sure everybody knows. That mindset is everywhere. It lives in pictures, in comments, in conversations, in subtle pressure, in the constant feeling that if no one sees it, it somehow matters less. But real prosperity is deeper than visibility. Real prosperity is peace. It is sleeping at night without fear eating your chest. It is having enough and not feeling the need to announce it. It is being able to bless others without needing credit. It is carrying increase without losing tenderness. It is having open hands and a clean heart. That is wealth the world cannot manufacture. Because performance is exhausting. Image management is heavy. Living for reaction is a prison. And many people who look prosperous in public are starving for rest in private. They have money but no calm, motion but no peace, visibility but no settled soul. God's kind of prosperity is different. It does not just change your account. It changes your inner world. It teaches you to breathe. It teaches you not to panic. It teaches you not to chase validation every time your life improves. It teaches you how to hold increase without letting increase hold you. That is freedom. That is maturity. And that is why some of the strongest people you will ever meet are not loud at all. They do not need constant attention because their confidence is rooted deeper than people's opinions. When God sends money, wisdom also asks practical questions, not just spiritual questions. It asks, what is this for? What should be protected? What should be saved? What should be repaired? What should be released? What should be planted so it can grow? What should be given so someone else can breathe? Because every blessing carries responsibility. This is where many people make mistakes. They celebrate the arrival but ignore the assignment. They focus on pleasure and forget purpose. They relieve the pressure of yesterday, but they do not build wisely for tomorrow. So the same blessing that could have become stability becomes a short moment of excitement and disappears. That is not always because the money was too small. Sometimes it is because the mindset stayed small. Increase is not just about spending power. It is about stewardship. It is about maturity. It is about learning to think beyond the rush of the moment. Pay what must be paid, close what must be closed, build what must be built, and do it without making a show out of every step. Quiet wisdom often looks simple from the outside, but it is doing serious work beneath the surface. It is protecting the future while others are performing the present. It is choosing substance over impression, long-term peace over short-term applause, strong roots over shiny leaves. If you can learn that, you will not only receive blessing, you will know how to keep it, how to multiply it, and how to use it without letting it poison your heart. And there is one more thing many people never talk about. When increase comes, generosity must grow with it. Not fake generosity, not giving to be noticed, not kindness with a camera in the room. Real generosity, quiet generosity, the kind that remembers what it felt like to need help, the kind that does not become cold just because life became easier. One of the clearest signs that a blessing is still healthy in your life is that it has not made you hard. It has not made you arrogant. It has not made you forget other people's pain. The right kind of increase should deepen compassion, not destroy it. It should make you more aware, not more self-absorbed, more willing to serve, not more addicted to status, because the blessing was never only about your comfort, it was also about your reach, about who gets lifted because you stayed faithful, about who gets fed because you stayed humble, about who finds hope because God can trust what flows through your hands. This is the beautiful part. When money no longer defines you, it becomes useful in the purest way. It becomes a tool, not a master, a servant, not a throne. And that is when peace becomes steady. That is when your life gains quiet weight. That is when your growth stops being just about survival and starts becoming a testimony built with substance. If you are still here, do not miss this. The goal is not just to get more. The goal is to become wise enough, humble enough, and strong enough to carry more well. So when the answer comes, slow down. When the door opens, breathe. When the money arrives, do not let your first response be noise. Let it be reverence. Let it be gratitude. Let it be wisdom. Let it be a quiet heart before God saying, teach me how to carry this. Teach me how to protect this. Teach me how to stay small in my own eyes and faithful in yours. Because what ruins many people is not the lack of blessing. It is the lack of wisdom after blessing. And you do not have to repeat that pattern. You can be different. You can receive and remain grounded. You can increase and stay tender. You can rise and still bow. You can build without broadcasting every brick. You can move in silence and still be full of joy. In fact, some of the deepest joy you will ever know will come from watching God grow something in your life that only He fully understands. No pressure to prove it. No rush to display it. Just quiet confidence. Just steady obedience. Just roots going deeper while fruit prepares to appear at the right time. And when that time comes, when the foundation is strong and the season is ripe and God decides the story should be seen, no one will be able to stop what He has established. Until then, stay wise, stay grateful, stay covered. And if heaven puts something precious in your hands, protect it with silence until it becomes strong enough to speak for itself.